you're familiar with the Jim Mora playoff, right, Connor?
Oh, yes.
Because when I stammer over words, it reminds me of when he first gets asked about the playoffs. And before he even says the word playoffs, he does this scoff. That's just like the best part of it. It's like, opt. And it's like the best part. It's like, you go listen to it right before he says playoffs, he goes, opt. And it's amazing. Like, it's just this absolute,
like this Porky the Pig kind of
despondent scoff. Just like, why opt? Yeah, like, it's like, just go check it out. You kidding me?
Welcome to Monkey Night Fight, folks. I'm Connor Rowntree. That's Joe Dolan. And we're going to be talking, I guess it's that way. There you go. That's Joe Dolan. And we're going to be talking a little Thursday night football today, folks. It's the Steelers and the Vikings, Joe. I mean, thoughts off the top of your head going into this game? Mike Zimmer probably should have been fired after the Detroit thing. That's just the one.
This could be it for him if they lose this game. I mean, you're still in the playoff hunt in the NFC. I think Washington currently has the last playoff spot at 6-6. So you have, like, you're still in it at 5-7. You know, Philly 6-7. So they're still in it. But I mean, you lose to Detroit. First and foremost, let's get this unbelievable stat. I think maybe I even mentioned it on last week's show. I don't know. I've been on so many damn podcasts, and I keep saying this because it blows my mind. The Minnesota Vikings have had a lead of 6 or more points in every single game this year, and they are 5-7.
That's tough.
That's unbelievable. Before last week, it was a lead of 7 or more points in every game, and they were 5-6, and then they took a 6-point lead against Lions, ended up losing the game. Just unbelievable. That's just an example of a team that's poorly coached, isn't prepared. Been reading so many things about, you know, what's going on, and obviously the defense is a problem. And, you know, to be fair to Mike Zimmer, you certainly have some issues with injuries. You know, Patrick Peterson was on the COVID list and he had a hamstring injury. You have Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks being out, you know, which affects your linebacking core. But also Matthew Collar, who covers the Vikings, did a stat where, like, Kirk Cousins is something like 36 of 46 on 3rd and 10 or longer, but only 13 of the 36 have gone for first downs. So he's thrown short of the sticks, you know. There's just all kinds of things going wrong with the Minnesota Vikings. And then now I'm worried, Connor, that it's forcing them into making bad decisions, because the reports are this morning that Dalvin Cook is going to play in this game. There was thoughts that it might be a season-ending injury, or at least 2 to 3 weeks. I don't know how smart that is. And it really makes, frankly, an MKF contest pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, why do you think they're forcing Dalvin Cook out there? If I could just pick your brain for a second, is it because they need the win? They think that he's their key player on offense, or do you just think it's let's put butts in seats? It's Thursday night football. We're at home.
Probably a little bit of both. Probably
it's
a little bit of both.
Sad but true. That's a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've lost 11 of the 12 games this season have been decided by one possession. They haven't lost a game by multiple scores. And that, again, you said it. They've had 6+ point leads in every game. It doesn't make sense how they can't win these tight games. I do think that obviously comes down to coaching. Then Kirk Cousins, under the bright lights himself, 8 of 17, 1 and 4 on Thursday night football. No slandering Thursday night football, but we can slander Kirk Cousins' performance.
And Kirk Cousins, you look at the numbers, and the numbers are great. I mean, I'm just really not sure what's going on otherwise. It's just there's just something not clicking. All the parts are there. There's something that's not put together right, for lack of a better term. I don't know. It's like the mortar between the bricks isn't sticking. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, it's just something weird with the Minnesota Vikings. But I will also say this: when you say no slandering Thursday night football, I'm not going to slander Thursday night football, because if you wanted to disassociate yourself from fandom and just watch entertaining football, I mean, the Minnesota Vikings might be up there at number 1 this year because every game's close. You never know what the outcome's going to be. They're an entertaining football team to watch, so long as you're not a fan of the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, I think it could be a great night for Steelers fans, actually, knowing that the Vikings have allowed 400-plus total yards in 4 games since Week 8. Could be a good night for Big Ben. Let's talk about this line now. Joe, you got 245.5 yards for Big Ben. He's got his targets. I mean, Deontay Johnson's been unbelievable this year. How do you see this game going for Big Ben? I think I'm inclined to take the more just because of how poor Minnesota's defense has been.
Yeah, Minnesota's defense has been really bad. I would say let's take the more. Patrick Peterson's going to be back. Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks are expected back, but I'm going to say more for Big Ben, who's actually playing pretty well overall. He still doesn't throw the ball with much velocity anymore. 236 last week against the Ravens. I think I'll take the more for Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, I think if it comes down to it, if he needs to throw the ball, I feel like he'll be efficient doing so. And then Kirk Cousins on the other side, man, he's just over 400 yards, 300 yards, 150 yards. Like, where is this guy going to be on the map? I'm going to take the more on this just because I feel the running back there for the first time this season. I feel like there's questions in the backfield, and not because of the talent level. I think Alexander Madison is a very good back, but who is Dalvin Cook going to take all 3 downs?
Yeah.
Is he going to be effective? Like, I don't understand what the game plan is going in. So because of that, I like Kirk Cousins to go for the more.
I like slightly more than this. And Adam Thielen being out worries me. KJ Osborne's done a nice job filling in, but the Steelers aren't going to have Joe Hayden. I mean, I think Justin Jefferson's going to go ham in this game, or at least you would think he's going to go ham in this game. Give me the more on Kirk Cousins as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to say. Justin Jefferson really is the guy. I understand Adam Thielen, probably one of the top 2 duos in the NFL. Obviously, you've got the Bucs who obviously have some deep receivers, but I mean, Jefferson over 200 targets over the last 2 seasons, over 2,600 yards with 14 touchdowns. The man makes a difference on the field. He could make a difference on Monday Night Football, but we like the more and more on both the quarterbacks. So we're previewing a very fun game. We said it already. The Vikings, 11 of 12 games have come down to 1-possession games, whether they win or lose. So, I mean, it's shaping up to be a nice game. And on the other hand, the Steelers, they're 6-1 this year in 1-possession games, and they tied the Lions. So this is really shaping up to be something fun. We just talked about him, Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
I kind of just pumped his tires. Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to go for less after just reciting his accolades over the last 2 seasons. So yeah, give me the more on that. Najee Harris, I think this is an interesting one because I think he's going to be involved as a receiver as well. But this Minnesota defense really is showing me no confidence in taking them for anything to stop any receiver or any running back, especially one as talented as Najee Harris, who can rip that in one big run from his own 20 to start the game. So, 25, but I'm going to take the more on that.
Here's what I'm going to do with Najee. I'm going to take the less. And the reason is Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr are expected back in this game. So give me the less on Najee Harris here. I just think it's I think it's a tough matchup. Their offensive line has not been blocking well at all. Yeah, give me the less on Najee Harris.
Yeah, it's going to be in Minnesota. It could be loud. Yeah, I understand that. Deontay Johnson, though, we look at his reception line up to 6.5. So you need 7 receptions to get the more on Monkey Knife Fight. I'll throw that to you, Joe. Where do you see Deontay Johnson coming in?
Deontay Johnson's going to go more than this. Ben Roethlisberger gravitates to Deontay Johnson. This is a guy, you want to talk consistent. He has finished as a top 24 fantasy receiver in 10 straight games. That's unbelievable. Like, even guys like Justin Jefferson will have a random game where they go 3 for 70. Deontay Johnson, top 24 in 10 straight games. Love it. Love it. Love the more. Guy is a league winner.
Yeah. What's your view on Chase Claypool then? Because, I mean, Minnesota's defense has been bad, as we said, since week 8. 4 games with over 400 yards given up. Like, incredibly bad defense. But you'd have to think that not all three receivers or not all three Steelers special players would be able to go off in this one.
Yeah, and Steelers and
skilled players.
Yeah, here's the thing. That's the word you were looking for. Here's the thing with the Steelers. Chase Claypool, his snaps were cut last week. He went from 98% snaps to 63% snaps, ostensibly because of the toe injury. And now he's dealing with a short week. Give me the less on Chase Claypool, this one's tough, though, because you said it with Najee Harris, but it's especially true, in my opinion, with Claypool, that he can make one catch and have 51 yards receiving. But I'm going to go with the less. I think he's banged up.
Yeah, well, I mean, even last week, right, with the 2 receptions, he had 52 yards.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. So
he can do it, but if he's, as you say, he's got the toe injury in Minnesota on the road. You have Johnson there. I just think that, I'm going to take the less on that one because out of necessity to use other players. And as you said, Big Ben obviously gravitates towards him. Claypool only had 3 targets last game. So, I mean,
I think it's the less for him, but and that's only because based on usage, not on the fact that he's an incredibly talented player.
Yeah, well, exactly. But I think just the target share is really what's important to me on this one. It's Claypool with 3 targets last game, Deontay Johnson with 11. Deontay Johnson actually hasn't gone less than double-digit targets in 4 consecutive weeks.
Yeah.
So that's the comfortability. That's why it's a bit of a tough one with Claypool. If it was a reception line, I'd be comfortable on the less, but the receiving line, because he's the one-hit wonder. But I will take the less on it, the Canadian kid. And then Justin Jefferson, I believe we both had the more on, folks. And that's a pretty solid rundown to go right through all these skilled players for both teams. And I can't believe I forgot the term skill player there, Joe.
It happens to the best of us. Like, I mean, everybody can relate to something. You're like, oh, by the way, I'm supposed to be a quote unquote expert in this industry, and I'm forgetting a term, forgetting a word. If you're a writer or somebody who talks for a living, which I'm both, the times your words get caught on your lips and you're like, it happens a lot more than you'd like it to. And it reminds me of our favorite. You're familiar with the Jim Mora playoff rant, right, Connor?
Oh yes.
Because when I stammer over words, it reminds me of when he first gets asked about the playoffs, and before he even says the word playoffs, he does this scoff. That's just like the best part of it. It's like opt, and it's like the best part. It's like you go listen to it right before he says playoffs. He goes opt. And it's amazing. Like, it's just this absolute
like this Porky the Pig kind of
despondent scoff. Just like, why opt? Yeah, like, it's like, just go check it out. You kidding me?
Oh my gosh. Well, let's take a look at this from a fantasy points perspective, because we have Mr. Fantasy Points here, Joe Dolan himself. Where would you expect these skill players to come in from the fantasy rankings? Obviously, Najee Harris is the big one at 17.5.
Oh, that one's so tough because he could do it as I took the less on the yards, but he's somebody who can catch 6 passes.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too when I was doing my analysis. I said he could do it both, right? Catch the ball out of the backfield, and you would expect him to do it against a defense that's been pretty vulnerable to running backs out of the backfield this season. We've seen them get chewed up, especially last weekend against the Lions. So I think I have to take more because I think he finds pay dirt as well, and that's 6 points right there, plus 100 points on the ground and 1 point per reception in Monkey Knife Fight PPR. 6 receptions, that's 6 points. Plus
I'll take the
points.
more on Najee because he can catch passes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with that more. Justin Jefferson at 20 points is interesting. The more you need 20 points from Justin Jefferson, I like the more, but if that goes up any more than that, it's tough. It's a one where I'm going to take the more because he's their top target. Adam Thielen's out. It just makes sense for the ball to go to him. Dalvin Cook is banged up. Everything makes sense.
You're basically at the point with Jefferson where he probably has to score a touchdown. Not definitely, because there is a chance he goes 10 for 170. But you're any more than this, and you're probably at the point where he's got to score because that's a little high. I really like the more on Deontay Johnson as well because he could catch 10 passes for 95 yards easily.
Yeah, we were just talking about it. I think he's averaging 13 targets over the last 4 weeks. So just catch every one of them. And don't worry about the yardage. You'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
Big Ben and Kirk Cousins. This is interesting. Two quarterbacks that aren't so mobile out of the pocket. So you would think that they need to eclipse this number. They're going to have to throw some touchdown passes. And I'm going to take the less on Big Ben at the 16.5. I think he's going to be able to throw the ball a lot, but I think it could be Najee Harris time if they get close to the goal line.
I think if you like the more for Najee, you might like the less for Ben. I'm going to lean to the slightly more for Ben only because Deontay Johnson's so red hot. You know, Johnson had 2 touchdowns last week. He should have had a third. I'm going to go less on Cousins, though.
Yeah, I was going to go less on both the quarterbacks.
And I think that's totally fair. That Ben line's really low, though.
Yeah, it comes down to scores, right? And yes, Deontay Johnson can score, but Claypool banged up, and Harris is just such a threat. But then again, it could be a screen pass, it could be a flare route out of the backfield as well. So, and then on the Kirk Cousins line, I think your feeling is probably similar to me. Why the less? It's just if you can't score against Detroit, I mean. TJ Watt is just doing incredible things this season.
He's crushing people. He's absolutely crushing people right now.
I believe there's something pretty incredible about TJ Watt. I lost my notes here. I was going through the monkey knife fight, but he's on pace to be the 3rd player in NFL to record 2 sacks per game. Reggie White did it in 87-88, and Mark Gastineau did it in 87-84.
Yep. Which was the record before Brett Favre fell down for Michael Strahan.
Oh, there you go. Thanks. Look at that. You learn something new every day. Don't you love this show? So much fun. Final predictions, Joe, before we get you out of here.
Minnesota takes a 7-0 lead. Pittsburgh wins 27-24.
I think Pittsburgh's going to win the game, but I love how you just had to emphasize the 7-0 lead. Dare I say they take a 10-point lead?
Oh, my. It's possible.
It's possible. But, yeah, just when it comes down to the coaching, I have to favor the Pittsburgh Steelers under the bright lights. We talked about Kirk Cousins' record on Thursday Night Football, just 1-4. The Vikings, Joe said it earlier, 6 or more point lead in every game this season, and they're 5-7. 11 of their 12 games have been one-score games. They can't seem to find wins.
I guarantee you this game will be entertaining. That's the one thing I can guarantee.
Pittsburgh, on the other hand, 6-1-1 in one-score game and one-possession games this season. So, yeah, this looks like a Steelers win for me. I'll take the Steelers to be a little more zealous on offense. Give me a 31-17 game, something that covers the spread. I do believe actually the Vikings are favored going into this game. So actually, I'm gonna jump all over that dash or that plus 3 points for the Steelers, or maybe even the money line. Yeah, give me the money line. Joe, thanks so much, man.
All right, take it easy, guys.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. That's Joe Dolan. I'm Connor Rowntree. This was Monkey Knife Fight, and remember to hit it hard.